Okay, good morning. We are back once again to start another configuration. Have you finished this side? Good morning once again. At least this one, we are coming to talk about what we call the ISP. Okay, the 6 log server over here. The 6 log server over here. That is the server that the 6 log server that is labeled. We will be using it to, we'll be configuring it based on ISP log messages. And the background, that is the work log or the work log of it is you must configure the router to identify the syslog server so as to receive login messages. Then again, you will make sure that those messages will be displayed in a correct time, correct date, whenever the messages arrived, both the server and the router. We'll be doing this because of the ISP. And you know that the ISP, yesterday we talked about it, and I said the ISP stands for Intrusion Prevention System. I did explain a lot. But this is time for us to do the configuration of it. So if you want to know something about the IPS, it's an intrusion preventing and also detecting a hacker outside whenever that hacker wants to enter into your corporate network. So after we set in everything, we'll also make sure that we will set the clock and we'll configure the timestamp services for logging on the routers. And the final one that we will do is that we will enable the IPS to produce an alert or to give an alert signal to incoming ICMP echo so that it will reply the packets whenever we are online. We will also make sure that we will enable the password. You have to enable password. You have to give password for the console. Then we'll also create SSH username and password. Then after that, make sure that you configure the entire network based on OSPF. So what I've given it to you, we'll be doing it later on in a jiffy. But I want you guys to sketch it, and after sketching, configure it. Then we'll come on board for configurations. Okay, based on IPS, Intrusion Prevention System, then Intrusion Detection Services or System, IPS stroke IDS. Yesterday we talked a lot about it. So start. Like what I said earlier on, this is the configuration we are coming to configure based on the iOS and IPS and IDS. Okay. Now I said configure this one in such a way that DNS server, 6log server, Adjoa and the rest can ping with this, but in the process of ICMP packets moving from one place to another, that packet have to be filtering. Okay. Yesterday I told you if a hacker wants to enter into your network, what are some of the alerts triggering? You will notice. So we want to make sure that this our server have to give us what? Alerts. Are you following it? This our server have to give us alert. There is what? An alert of somebody who want to enter inside our corporate network. So this one, I haven't configured the network yet. Now I'm coming to configure it. So I'll be in a very speedy way because you have already configured yours I hope you can stand here and ping the yellow. Can you stand on the blue and ping the yellow? How many of you have yours pinged? None of you. So you've not configured it. And I'm asking you, you said no. You can ping. You said? You can ping, eh? So none of you can ping. Okay. I'll check and see whether I can ping. You want me to give you the area? No, do you want me to give you the area? I said configure OSPF. Okay, let me go on. Let me give an IP address to the server. Click on the server. Let's go straight to desktop. Click on desktop. Then let's give an IP address. We are given an IP address of DNS server. So 192.168.10.201. Then 192.168.10.1. One is for the gateway, which is the router's IP address. Then we have to give a DNS IP address 192.168.10.201. After you have finished typing this one, you are done with the server. You have to give what Ajua, but I'm going to make sure that I will configure the DHCP on the server. So let me click on this one. Then I'll put a DHCP on. The default gateway, I'll give it 1. Then the DNS, I'm going to give 192.168.10.201. Then the start IP. So at least I will give what 50 pieces. Then they have to start from what 150. Then I'll click on set. After clicking on set, it tells you that you have set the DHCP. So I want these two pieces, Adwa PC and a PC1, to have their IP address derived from what? The DNS server. So click on it, go to desktop, click on IP configuration, then click on DHCP. Let's see whether the server will distribute IP address to them automatically. Yes. Do the same thing to PC1. Okay, but the rest of the server, which is the 6-log server, we are going to give 202. So let me give the 202 to it. 192.168.10.202. 192.168.10.1. 192.168.10.201. Now we are set on the blue side. We are now going to configure the router. So let me give a laptop. Let me put a laptop because I'll be using a console. Okay, so I'll click on the laptop, then go straight to the desktop, then click on terminal, then straight away you click OK. We can find ourselves now on the BFR1. Type no. I said you have to type no because unless you know all the configuration of the router before you can type what? Yes. If not and you type yes, there are other consecutive questions that the system will keep on asking you. And if you are not able to answer, you end up messing things up. So it's better you have to put what? No. Then you start as a beginner. When you have reached, I won't say that you are a beginner because you are now getting to know a lot of things. Okay. So let's put the EN, then the config, then the host name, is R1. Let me give the line console 0. Exec timeout, I'll make it 00 so that my router will not log out. Then I'll put a password. Then the login, I'll type exit. Then enable secret. After I'm set and done, what I suppose also to do is that I have to configure the GIG, this particular one, this GIG, I have to configure it. So int GIG 0/0. So IP address 192.168.10.1, 255.255.255.0, enter. Then no shutdown. Then you see that the line now is ready. One is listening, the orange is listening, the green is forwarding. Let's type exit. Now we are done. We have to also enter inside a serial. We have to enter inside a serial. So int se 0/1/0 IP address 10.10.10.1 255.255.255.252. No shut, then type exit. All configuration will be done on our IPS, and the IOS will be done on what? Router 1. Okay, intrusion prevention what? Services or system will be done on the router 1. So let's configure router 2. Let's configure router 2. Host name is going to be R2. Let me put it in BF R2. The first one is supposed to type BF R1, but I did R1. So let's go on. Line console 0. Exec timeout, password, login, exit, enable secret, then int se. So I'm now configuring the se. This one I'm now configuring se 0/1/0. So 0/1/0. So IP address 10.10.10.2 255.255.255.252. So no shut. Now remaining the right side, immediate right side, that goes to the yellow side. It goes to the yellow side. So remain this side, which is SE 0/1/1. So just type exit, then interface 0/1/1. IP address 20.20.20.2 255.255.255.252. It's very simple for you to know that the /30 is 252. So I've already explained about all those particular words. subnet. Mhm. I made it, it's 10, 20, 20, 10, 20, 20. Okay, so let me just, let's change it. Oh, you've already done that. You done that. Okay. So I'm changing from 20 to 10, no shutdown. I'm supposed to give you an IP address of the serial. That's the serial. The one at the top that goes to the ISP. But let's configure the rest. So I'm done with this one. I'm going to the BFR3. The router now links to the yellow side. The router that links to the yellow side. We are not done because our main configuration is just on the way coming, which is intrusion prevention system or services. So we are just preparing our network for that, okay? So that whenever the outsider is coming, an intruder is coming, at least we will detect it. So these are all preliminary settings of the our main work that will be doing. Line console 0, exec, password, BFR3, and a BFR3, then enable secret. So INT, I'm now about to configure this side. That is the XE0/1/1, a serial interface that links to BFR3. Okay, then you configure the GIJ one also, INT GIJ 0/0, 192.168.3.1, 255.255.255.0. So no shutdown. We are good to go. You can now save your work. Do the same thing to the rest of the routers. Okay. Yes. Now, let me just use one of these PCs here to assign an IP address. The yellow side, I'm going to assign Kwame an IP address. So 192.168.3.100. 192.168.3.1. There is no DNS. I'm sorry, it's 3. Thank you very much. It's 3. Okay. So let's do the same thing to the rest of the routers so that we save them. Okay, now I'm going to configure the OSPF, and the area is area 0. I'm going to configure the OSPF. One dot one dot one dot one network is 192.168.10.0, 255.255.255.0, area 0. Have the network again, 10.10.10.0, and 255.255.255.252. Then the area is 0. We are done with this one. That is, we are done with the BFR1. I'm going to BFR2. So click, let's go to BFR2. Come out from the interface. Then the router OSPF. Router ID 2.0.0.0, the 2.2.2.2. Enter. Then the network is going to be 10.10.10.0, 255.255.255.252. The area is going to be 0. Okay, so the new adjacency has happened. Yes, I'm not using that. You can use it. Okay, they are the same. But you can use the wildcards. You can use the one without the wildcards. They are the same. Okay, yes, because we use the wildcards because of security reasons. And I have to configure other. I have to do other configurations. That is why. Okay. So 10.0.0.0, 10.20.20.0, 255.255.255.252. So we have the area which is 0 also. Give out. Now you have to go to router 3. Go to router 3. And let's do the same thing. Router OSPF, router 3.3.3.3. The network is going to be 10.20.20.0, 255.255.255.252. Then the area is going to be 0. Let's see whether the new adjacency, okay, new adjacency account, it has appeared on our screen. So it means that we are done with this particular area. Now remaining the 192.168.3.1. So let's see the network 192.168.3.0, 255.255.255.0. Then you have the area as what? The area as 0. So let's see. Now, I just use some few minutes to configure the rest of the OSPF. I hope by now you are done. I hope by now you are done. I want you to just go straight to the DNS. Click on the DNS. Click on the DNS. Click on the DNS server. Click on the DNS server. Then edit. I taught you guys this one yesterday. We are coming to do the same thing. So let's clear this one and make it big firm company limited. You can copy what you have typed, and Cisco packet tracer, just replace it with what you have copied. Then Control V, then you paste it. Just click on save, then you choose yes. Go straight to the DNS. Click on the DNS. After clicking on DNS, click on Big Firm Company Limited. Big Firm Company Limited. Okay, so I said click on DNS, then make sure that you click on, then the name of the server, the name of the server. Look at the name of the server. It's DNS hyphen what? Server. Type the same thing, DNS hyphen server. Then you type the IP address of it, 192.168.10.201. You know, yesterday I was teaching you something about the IPv6 records. You know, this one is A records. But when you click on this one, we have the 4As. The 4As are for the IPv6. So I'll come on it and we will treat it well. Okay. We have the corner name, then you have name server record, then we have SOA, start of authority. Then you remember when configuring the server, when configuring the DNS, we have a SOA, we have an NS records, we have the C. The C name, which is the corner name, is the one we normally use to configure our website when you are creating the corner name. You forget. So let it be on the A records. The A record is for 32 bits, which is this one. Then the AAAAA is for IPv6. Okay. So let it be. Now click on add. Click on add. Are you done? Close it. Let's go straight to Kwame PC. That is Kwame PC. Let's go to Kwame PC. Straight to Kwame PC. Click on it. Then let's go to command prompt. Let's ping the server, this particular server, 192.168.201. Let's ping it. Oh, mine is pinging. What about you? How many of you have yours pinged? Only two, Musa and Kevin. What about the rest? This one, I will check. Now click on the website. Now the web browser. Yes. You know that on the main server, listen, you know that on the main server, the DNS, we type the server's name. Are you following it? Check. We type, click on the DNS. Let us go back. We type the DNS server name. You understand? Now go back to the same place again and type bigfirm.com. Bigfirm.com. Then type the same IP address, 192.168.10.201. Okay, then add. So we see something like this too. The server name and the domain name. The server name and the domain name. We are done setting our DNS and the records and those things, let's go to Kwame's PC. Then you have already double click on the web browser. Now type bigfirm.com. It said host name unresolved. How many of you have this? Host name on what? Resolved. Now type, clear it and type the server's IP address 192.168.10.201. Have you seen what has happened? Which means that the host name is unresolved. So we will go back and do it, okay? But we will solve these things later because I've already configured the DNS. So let's go straight to our IPS because of time. Are you following it? Because of time, let's go straight to what? Our IPS, okay? Then, okay, now it's time for us to configure IPS. So we'll be configuring IPS stroke IDS stroke IOS. Okay, let's go on. Now we'll be configuring the IPS, IDS, that is intrusion prevention system or services. Then intrusion detection system or services. Then they have international operating services or system. Okay, yes. This one, we have some mobile phones that they use iOS, but softwares. Yes, there are some hackers that they can create their own iOS. The iOS, the apps that they normally create, they are all iOS. The softwares on your mobile phone, they are all iOS. So if you create a software and that software didn't tally with the mobile network, you can put it there for somebody to download. So some of the programmers, you see them in the small corner, they will create their own iOS software. Are you following it? When you look at some of the mobile phones, the games that you play here and there, it's a mobile apps, all right, but you call it the iOS. So if somebody has sat down in his private comfort zone and he or she has created a nice iOS and he want to come and put it on your network, invade on your network so that at least everything that he or she has done will capture your network. We want to set a router to give us a signal and to prevent it. First, we detect it and what? We'll prevent. Do you understand now? Do you understand, Aziz? Or you don't get it? So that is the IPS. IPS stand for what? Intrusion prevention what? System. So if you intrude, look, if let me intrude inside somebody's privacy without authorization, then you are a thief. So for me to do that, why can't I put a surveillance camera? So the surveillance camera will detect. Then what will do to prevent will be done by what? If the security camera is there, will detect. Is that not it? Then what will prevent the thief not to enter? Your burglar proof and those things are there to just protect. So that is how it is. So if Kwame, as far as yellow side, can ping up to the blue side where the server is and browse. Now we want to do some preventions. We will detect and we will prevent it. But all the same, the server is the one that will give us the alert. So the server and the router have to be what? Friendship, handshaking. Are you following it? Yes. Buba. Uh, so now what you have to do is that when you look at all the routers, one, we've not set time. Two, we are going to deal with firewall. Are you listening? Security, we are going to deal with what? Firewall. So we have to enter inside our router and check whether firewall has been enabled. Security features, have they enabled security features on our what? Routers? If not, we have to go and enable it. Students, I hope you are okay. So that is what we are coming to do. Yes. So if right now I said let us configure the IPS, intrusion prevention services, check whether the security of your router has been enabled or not. If not, we have to try our best and do what? Enable it. So shall we go on now? Be on router 1. Let's go. Be on router 1. Go straight to privilege mode. Go to privilege mode on router 1. Go to privilege mode on router 1 and type show version. Show version. Type show version. Then press the space bar. Press another space bar. I want you to check this. Check this one. Are you seeing what have they written here? And they say security is what? And it's none, is none, is none. Which means that the router don't have security features what? Enabled. If so, we have to enable it. I hope it's clear. Yes, we have to enable it. So it's now time for us to enable the system. So we have what we call the license inside the system. We have what we call the license. I want you to bring the question tag. Bring the question tag. Shift and the question tag. Shift and the question tag. Hey. When we typed show version, we found out that the system, the router don't have security enabled. Okay, so now we are going to enable it, and for us to do that, we have to be inside the configuration mode. So let's go. Config T. Then shift and the question tag. Shift and the question tag. Press the shift and the question tag. Can you see license? License is here. It said configure license what? Features. Configure license features. So type license, type license, and the shift and the question tag again. You will see boot. It's a license boot config commands. What we are about to do will enable the features of what? Security. Okay, the security features will be enabled. So type boot, then type model. The model. When you check the model, when you check the system, let's check and see. You see that the model is what? Look at the model. The model is C1900. The models are the series. Okay, are you following it? It's like we are buying a security license outside, and they are giving us a model. All mobile phone have their own what security features. You can you can install iPhone 15 model features to iPhone 11, or I think it will malfunction, or yes, it will misbehave. So they are telling us that the model, when you bring the shift and the question tag, you see that the model is what? C1900. So you type C1900, then technology package. Bring the question tag, you see technology package there. So technology package, then the shift and the question tag again, you see security K9. Okay, that's the security technology. Security what? K9. You always ask yourself, we have a lot of security. Whenever it comes to antivirus, we have is antivirus. But whenever it comes to the one that is the best, the vendor will convince you that okay, this one is the best. Oh, this particular antivirus is having a lot of features like this and this and this and that. So when you have been convinced, you just download and use it. Then you become an advertised person. Also, you advertise them that when I download this software, it was good to my system. So this one that you are seeing is a security K9 security technology. So that is what you have to choose. Okay, enter. You know what you have done now? It asks you something. Did the system ask you something? Okay. You know, when you are using different packet tracer, what packet tracer are you using? Are we using the same packet tracer? So type yes. Enter. Remove it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so listen, you know, it all of them will work the same thing. Okay, because after we finish, when press the up arrow key, the one that you type, when you bring the space bar, well, as he said, when you bring the space bar, as he said, I brought a space bar and it's giving me all those notes, we call it the license note, all the things that you need. So you have to read. So you have to choose what? Yes. So we need when you finish that, you can see that you have the iOS license, image application license. So this iOS, it tells you that a new software has been added to the routers what softwares. Okay, and that software is what security K9. You see, it's here. Just enter. Just enter. Now type exit. Then you type reload. After finish typing exit, type enter, then choose yes. What you have done earlier on, you want to type reload so that the security features and everything will come into place. Okay, enter. When it said proceed with reload, into bracket is confirmed, just enter. So you see that our iOS is rebooting and starting. Okay, enter. Ask me password. Sorry. Oh, sorry. After you are done configuring the rest of the configuration, just type show version. Check. You can see that the security, we have everything now there, evaluation, and we are set to go. So keep this in mind, though. Eh, they be asking this pop on the field. Especially if you go there, they said configure this one for us. They definitely know that they've not enabled security features on the router. You will configure everything, still the thing is not going. Because what you are configuring, it needs security what? Features. So the IPS and the IDS and the iOS, they need what? Security feature. Before we can create IPS, that is intrusion prevention services, we have to create a folder. That folder is going to contain all security features that will trigger any ICMP what? Alert messages that they are coming. If you want somebody to protect your house for you, that is why we have security posts. You say you need a security man or a security woman. Is that not it? You need a security what? Post, office. So since we need a security in our router, so that those particular ICMP messages that will be coming from outsiders into our corporate network, we need a folder that will keep all those security things. So inside the privilege mode, make sure that we create what? A folder. So we'll be using, in Kali Linux, when you want to create a folder, what command will you type? Okay, in Windows, what command will you type? Look at something. Press on Windows R and type CMD. Let's do it. Go to CMD. Go to drive C, then dir. dir. These are the things inside drive C. These are the things inside drive what? C. Okay. Now, go to, we want to create a folder. So you have to type md space, md space, bf data. Type md bf data. Enter. We are done creating it. Now, when you type dir and you enter, you will see bf. You see, look at it. And when you see the greater than and less than, the dir in between, it tells you that those ones are what? Folders. Are you following it? Let's go to our drive C. Click on the Explorer. Let's go to our drive C. Go to drive C. Now on drive C, you see that we have BF data there. You see. So Microsoft use MD, that is make directory. Kali Linux, Ubuntu, Red Hat, Red Hat, Mandriva, Fedora, and the rest, they use backtrack 5.4. They use what we call MKDIR, make directory. You see how the thing is. Microsoft told is MD, make directory. And those vendors also, theirs are what? MK. Is it not the same make? That is a MKDIR. So in our Cisco, we are going to create a directory, and the directory we are going to create, we'll name the directory IPSDIR. Let's do it that way because it's what? IPS. But you know the IPS, the full name of IPS, intrusion protection. Yes. So yes. So the name is going to be BF IPSDIR. Okay. So let's type MKDIR space BF IPSDIR, which means this one will be the name of our folder. So the first thing that you have to do is that you have to create a directory named BFISPDIR. Enter. And it said create directory, file name BFIPSDIR. Just enter. Then it said directory has been created. You can see in the flash way. Okay. Yes. We are the second thing that we have to do is we are going to create a signature, IPS signature, intrusion prevention system signature, inside our folder. And that particular signature will not be any other signature than your corporate network word signature. If a security man is guiding your house and somebody just asks the security man, which house were you guiding? Instead, Mr. Kevin's house. Are you following it? And the security post is inside whose house? Mr. Kevin. So it's good for us to create what we call IPS signature. So let's go to the config T, that is a configuration T. So we are going to create a signature. One example of the signature is also what we call certificate. Yesterday we create administrator certificates. If I call somebody right now, give me the command to create a administrator certificate. Jeff, I hope you can do so. Tell us the command. What command? Buba, tell us the command to create the administrator certificate. You type Windows R. You write MMC. Are you sure? I can see it showing on your face. The screen is showing on your face. You go to the file. Are you going to where the certificate store is? Or you are creating the administrator certificate for us? If you are in a command prompt, what command will you type to create administrator certificate? Teresa, I can't hear you. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Cipher space backslash R column. Then you write administrator. Will you bring space before writing administrator? Uh-huh. PFS. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So now let's continue. Let's continue. We are now coming to create a signature inside the folder that we just created earlier on. So I want you to type IP iOS IP IP IPS IP IPS. That is IP IPS. But before we can type that one, let's bring the question tag so that you know that IP IPS is here. You see intrusion prevention what? System. You see it? So we have IPS, then shift and the question tag again. Then you can see location. Can you see location? Yes, IPS, then config. We have config, location of the IPS configuration file. You see the config. So put the config there. Then bring the question tag again. It said location, location of IPS configuration files. So you type what? Location. Type location. Then you bring the question tag again, and it said directory path of IPS configuration files. Directory path. And our directory path of the file configuration, you type what? Flash. Then the column. Then what will be our directory file name? So BF IPS dir. Is that not it? Yes. So enter. Excellent. The third one, we are going to create IPS rule on our router. That one will enable us so that we can have a configurations based on iOS. Okay. Now we have the iOS, which we call the security in our system. So if we have directed our system that okay, look for the BF IPS directory, which is our folder. Now we want that particular folder to listen to iOS. We want the folder to listen to what? iOS. And what will be the iOS? We have to give the iOS name. So that if somebody outside, right now, if you didn't give the iOS name, and somebody from outside has already created his own, You will just put inside your network, and your network will compromise with the person. But if you give the name, then it means that your security is what? Strong. So if you are coming, it will ask you. Let's go on. Huh. Shall we go on? We are done typing this one. So let's type the IP again. Then IPS. Then when you bring the shift and the question tag, you say the name. You see the name is here. First we did with the config. Now the name. It said specify an IPS word rule. You see, specify an IPS word rule. So name. Then the shift and the question tag. It said the word. So what is our IPS iOS name? We are going to type BF iOS. Yes, BF iOS IPS, which means that Big Firm iOS IPS, Big Firm Internetwork Operation System, Intrusion Prevention System. So this is the rule we are giving it to our what? The iOS. Enter. We have to also enable the login. We have to notify the logins. Okay. So when you check, we have already done with config. We have done with the name. Now remember notify. Everything specify the notification mechanisms, side or log for the alarms. You seen it, so that when something happens, it will be the trigger of it. So type the IPS, then notify, and you type what. So when you bring the question tag, you say the log. Send event as a 6-log what? Message. So you say log, then enter. And our 6-log message is this server. Check. You see? So if somebody want to enter into our network, the server also will have what? Hint. The server will have. Now we have set how many rules on it? 3. The first one, we create what? The first one, we enable the security. Second one, we did what? We create a directory. Fourth one, the third one, we make sure that the directory we create have to make sure that it gets a location path of it, which is the IPS. Then the fourth one, we have to make sure that we create the iOS software in our directory called that's the BF iOS IPS. Okay. The fifth one, if we have already created everything and it's set and done, remember the router date and time, you have to set it. Other than that, the router will keep on giving us wrong time. What time do the person log in? It's 11 o'clock. But since we've not set the time for the router, it tells you that it's what? 5 p.m. That brings confusion whenever you are dealing with forensics, tracing of what? Fault. You say, but you said the person logged inside the system around 11 a.m. But the router also is giving us what? 5 p.m. Then you don't know what you are talking about. You see, so it's now time for us to what? Set up our dates and time. And I taught you guys how to set date and time on our router. I hope by now you squash it out. Musa now is asking me when. Musa now is asking me when. I hear. Type exit. Type exit. Then type show clock. What says our time? What says your time? And the date, 1993. Universal Time Clock, UTC, Universal Time Clock. Wow. Monday, March. Is today Monday? And the month also. So we have to give exact date, time to our router. Okay. So shall we now set it? Type clock, set. I won't teach you this one again. What says the time? 11 column 11:40. Let's make it 11:40 00. Then you type today's day. Today's date is 11th, 10th. So 10th, then October. October 2024. October. October. Enter. Now type show clock and enter. Truly and behold, 11:40. The seconds is running. The UTC today is Thursday, is true. October 10th, 2024. Wow. So I hope you've now got to know how to set the date and time. Shall we continue tomorrow? Shall we continue tomorrow? Part 2 of IPS. That will bring the curtains of today. Thank you very much. This one is part 1 of IPS, IDS, iOS configuration. We'll continue tomorrow of part 2 of this. Don't forget to share and subscribe as well. Let us study to make the world powerful and approve unto ourselves in the near future. Thank you very much for being with me. We study together. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.